Hello everyone, my name is Christian, welcome to my hobby blog. So I just watched the first movie of the February Vinegar Syndrome subscriptions package. Uh, Beware children at play. um, this is most definitely a trauma movie. This was one I didn't know anything about before getting. I got a subscription, so of course I got it anyways, but I think I would have bought this no matter what upon seeing Trauma's logo on the back, which you can see very tiny here in the corner, right below the Blu-ray symbol. It's a little hard to see, but this movie is pure fucking insanity. I loved it so much. Basically, it starts off with a boy and his father doing camping activities, fishing, doing like wilderness survival type of stuff, building campfires, singing songs, which, by the way, the boy sings, and it's probably the worst singing I've ever heard in my life, and it set the tone for the rest of this movie. And the dad at one point steps on a bear trap and he's like, son, go get the provisions, get me help. And the boy goes and gets like campfire stuff and like food and chills out for like an entire day, and then this dad just dies, but not before he gives a long prayer incantation. We're not really sure at this point what he's even talking about. He's talking about gulping people's blood, munching on bones, and like all this different weird shit that I assume Lloyd Kaufman was a heavy influence on the script. Because from there, the boy repeats the prayer and we cut to black. And we don't see him again for a while. And we meet this other family, this mother, father, and little girl, and they are showing up to the cousin's house to go hang out for the weekend or whatever. And the father's a pretty renowned author. He's basically like the Goosebumps author of the time. He's not like Stephen King, although watching this movie, it is the most Stephen King movie I've seen that has no relation to Stephen King at all. This movie had everything in terms of Stephen King. Had the really great town riot scene where everyone comes together and you have, the policeman, you have the religious woman, you have older man who is weird. Like, you have all these different townsfolk. And we get to see them all hustle and bustle throughout the movie, and they all have their quirks. And we have the author character, who's our main character of the movie, and he's trying to solve the crime by using his own books. But that's not at all what becomes the answer, because eventually the wife figures out, because she's a professor at school or like a university, she's like, no, this sounds like Beowulf, this epic Viking tale. And everyone's like, oh, no, it doesn't, and then they actually start researching it, and they're like, oh, shit, you're right, okay, let's go find the kids. And the rest of the movie is pure insanity. The first 30 minutes, aside from the intro with the father and the boy, pretty good, but after that, it's very dreary up until about the 30-minute mark, when things start becoming clearer in terms of what's going on. And it builds to the most ludicrous ending that I think I have ever seen. I don't even want to talk about it, but it is very gory. It is glorious, completely glorious. It subverts your expectations, so for those who like that, it does. I am still just giggling to myself at that ending. That ending was not expected. I was laughing my head off the entirety of it. It is absolutely insanity. I don't know how else to describe this movie, because it starts out pretty low and then starts to build and build and build, and soon enough the ending just skyrockets to a whole nother plane of existence that I did not know was there. I don't know who made this movie. It's a guy named Mick Gibbon or something like that, who plays one of the major characters in the movie called Mr. Braun. He's one of the quirky townsfolk in the movie. But Mick Cribbin, okay. I think I said that right. Maybe I said Gibbon. But yeah, oh my gosh. This movie has it all. And if you can get past the first 30 minutes of the movie, you are golden. You are absolutely golden. This movie was fucking awesome. It comes with a brand new commentary track, which I'll be listening to very soon. They have a whole new making of documentary all about this movie. They have new interviews with the director, and then archival interviews. I was debating on watching all of this and getting all the info I needed, but this movie is so fucking awesome that I think people just need to get it as soon as possible. And even if there were no special features, I would have gotten this. So I think this is probably one of my favorite releases this year. Easily. This movie just had it all for me. It had so much gore. It has a badass slipcover. A badass poster. I forgot what that was called. But this movie is just amazing. And they need to get more trauma movies into Vinegar Syndrome's catalog. I have been submitting for the last 5 years now on the website, because there's a little thing in the website where you can submit movies for them to release. Or at least to kind of show that you're interested in a particular movie. And every year for about 5 years now, maybe about twice a year, I have submitted Killer Condom, which is another trauma-produced film. And it's up there with this, in my opinion. It might even be more entertaining in terms of just everything. Everything with Killer Condom is magical. It is fun for the whole family. They need to add that. They've done Splatter University. They've done a few other trauma films, which I'm not familiar with. I think Lloyd Kaufman should just bite the bullet and let Vinegar Syndrome release everything trauma, because not only will he finally get all the money that he deserves, because he is an independent studio and refuses to work with any mainstream studios, which I am completely for, because he's able to have full control of all his productions. He gives up-and-coming directors free reign of where the fuck they want, and this movie, I think, he had really no part in this. I was really hoping for a cameo with Lloyd Kaufman, but they didn't. But this guy had all the freedom, I think. It's kind of amazing that there were no lawsuits over this movie, because all the kids brutally murder everybody throughout this movie. And we get some crazy kills throughout this entire movie. And what's amazing is that each kill, it starts with a simple stabbing, then it goes to a, throat cut, and then it keeps going all the way until the ending, which I'm not going to talk about. You gotta see it to believe it. I'm not even going to hint at it. It is awesome, though. It is so bloody. There are head explosions. It's got it all. I don't even have to see the other movies in this package to know that this is going to be my favorite. So, if you're not convinced at this point, I don't know what to say. Maybe if trauma is just not your thing, it isn't for everybody. Trauma is very obsessed with showing you the disgustingness of the human body. What's a Toxic Avenger, I think. That movie is probably the most famous. It's one I love. Vinegar Syndrome released a whole series of Toxic Avenger, please. The Blu-ray is fucking expensive. Yeah. Trauma is all about how disgusting the human body is. And this isn't a trauma made movie, it's produced, so they kind of helped them in terms of the funding. But it has the spirit. It has the free reign, whatever the fuck we want attitude. And so I've already kind of answered this question, but I always like to end these videos with, would I have bought this if I didn't get the subscription? And fuck yeah, I would have. I was sold when I saw the trauma symbol, and then I watched it, and I was like, okay, yep, it's a trauma film. Fun for everybody. Don't let, I don't know. Don't let people who don't like seeing kids murder people and people murdering kids see this movie, because it's very upsetting in that regard, but it's so over the top at times that it doesn't even matter. You can see the kid breathing, like, when he's dead. And really all the actors, whenever they have a shot of someone dead, they're just like... But they're supposed to be dead because they have a big knife slit. And sometimes the kids stab somebody's heart out and then take the heart and it's beating and it's awesome. And not even to mention the score of this movie. I'm kind of shocked I didn't mention it. It's right at the tail end of 1989. There are a lot of synthesizers, but it's the most goofy synthesizers that I've had. It's not awesome in terms of like Goblin or really any movie from the 80s that, you know, is not your mainstream 80s Hollywood movies. This is very much a cult film from the 80s. The music is so funny. It does not go well with what's on screen, but in terms of the first 30 minutes, but once it gets ridiculous, the music, it fits just right. I love this movie. This is a new favorite of mine. This is why I love Vinegar Syndrome, because not every movie they release is even remotely good. I'll say that right out. Every now and then I think to myself when I'm working, when I'm at my office, and I'm like, why did I get a Vinegar Syndrome subscription? Like 80% of the movies I see by them is either just okay or bad. But there's that like 20%, which is diamonds in the rough, is what I like to call it. Where as you're watching it, you're like, what is going on? And it just gets better and better. I still maintain that Champagne and Bullets is my favorite Vinegar Syndrome release, because that was a desperately needed Blu-ray that we needed. That was a movie I've known about since about 2014, 2015. I wasn't even out of high school yet. And I remember watching it and being blown away by it. I had a USB copy of it. And not only did Vinegar Syndrome release Gitaven, which is like the famous cut of the movie, but they released all 3 cuts. I didn't even know there were 3 cuts. I just thought it was Gitaven. But oh my god. Vinegar Syndrome's amazing, and with this release, they continue to prove why I spent almost $1,000 on this fucking subscription. Because, my god, it is so worth it, in my opinion. That is all. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed talking about this, getting my thoughts out, but I don't know when the next one will be. It is February 28th, 2022 that I'm filming this. So tomorrow is the big day. That's when we get 11 partner labels announced and March 2022's lineup announced. So we have a lot of titles incoming. I'm just going to keep hoping for Killer Condom. I've been recently wanting Suburban Sasquatch to be added to the Vinegar Syndrome lineup. I think it would be perfect for the Homegrown Horrors collection. So if anybody knows Vinegar Syndrome personally and there's any sway that you can have, push them. Push them a little bit to get Suburban Sasquatch and Killer Condom out. Because that would make my life. Everything after that will be downhill for me. Nothing will ever reach the apex of having Killer Condom and Suburban Sasquatch on either 4K or Blu-ray. Thank you all for watching.